What's up, everybody? Welcome back to episode 2 of Quarantine Madness. If you don't know what we're doing, pause this video, go watch episode 1. I don't want to explain it again for my few faithful viewers who have been riding with us from the beginning. But anyways, this is episode 2. We're going through the Sweet 16 and Elite 8 college basketball programs here on 2K. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that bracket up and let's all look at it together. Alright, so these are the teams that made it out of the round of 32, and we're in the Sweet 16 now. So in the top left corner, we have the number 1 overall seed, UCLA. They're taking on Ohio State. Good 8-9 matchup of Michigan taking on LSU. 5-12 matchup of Georgetown playing Texas. 4-13 Kentucky versus Michigan State. On the other side of the bracket, we have UNC, the number 2 seed, taking on Florida. We have Houston, the number 7 seed, taking on Arizona State. 22 Memphis taking on 27 Indiana. Couple of Cinderella stories there. We'll see who can keep the magic alive. And last but not least, we have the number 3 seed Kansas taking on 14 Arizona. So let's jump into these highlights and see who can advance to the Elite 8. Okay, so the first game of the day is UCLA taking on Ohio State. In this game, UCLA continued to dominate. Russell Westbrook led their team with 8 points, and UCLA gets the job done. They're on to the Elite 8 with a 21-15 victory. Up next, like I said, we have a great matchup here, Michigan and LSU. Two teams that are really evenly matched, but at the end of the day, the combo of Shaq and Ben Simmons was just too much for Michigan. Shaq led their team with 9 points, and LSU moves on. The next matchup we had was number 5 Georgetown taking on Texas, and Georgetown, they were able to pull out the win in this one. Allen Iverson with another big game. He had 12 points, 4 assists, 4 steals, and this one was a final of 27-24. High scoring game there. Next we had Kentucky versus Michigan State. And in this one, this is a little bit of an upset here, but Michigan State was able to win the game 21-19, and their leading scorer was actually Jaren Jackson. He had really just a complete game. He was doing it all for them. 9 points, 7 boards, 2 assists, and of course they got some help from Magic Johnson as well. Next, we had UNC taking on Florida. Like I said earlier, this UNC team is stacked. Between Vince Carter and Michael Jordan, there were a lot of dunks thrown down in this game. Vince Carter actually led the team with 9 points and 3 assists. UNC with the win, and they're moving on. Next, we had Houston taking on Arizona State. This Houston team is very underrated. That combo of Clyde Drexler and Hakeem Olajuwon proved to be the difference in this one. Clyde Drexler had 11 points. We see him throwing down all kinds of dunks on the breakaways in this game, and they won this game 21-16, and they will go on to face UNC in the next round. That's going to be a really good matchup to keep an eye on. Next, we had Memphis taking on number 27 Indiana, fresh off the win against Duke. Could they keep the magic going in this game? No, they could not. Memphis had way too many scoring threats for Indiana to keep an eye on all game between Derrick Rose and Penny Hardaway. Memphis was able to get to 21 pretty quickly in this one. They got the win. Final game of the Sweet 16 was Kansas and Arizona. And Kansas in this one was able to pull out the win. We see Paul Pierce knocking down a shot there. And of course, Wilt Chamberlain. He had a game. Just look at all the stats he recorded. 8 points, 10 boards, 5 assists, and this one really wasn't that close. Kansas won 22-12. They advance to play Memphis. So let's look at the Elite 8 we got for us right now. We have UCLA taking on LSU, Georgetown taking on Michigan State, UNC taking on Houston, and Memphis taking on Kansas. So many great matchups there. I don't want to waste any more time. Let's go right into those highlights. Up first, we had UCLA taking on number 9 LSU. UCLA got the win in this one, 21-19, an extremely close game, but at the end of the day, Kareem, Bill Walton, Zach LaVine, Russell Westbrook, Kevin Love, all putting up points for UCLA. They got the win. Next, we had Georgetown taking on Michigan State. Michigan State's coming off that win against Kentucky, but Georgetown just looked like the better team in this one. Patrick Ewing actually led the way this time. Allen Iverson was their leading scorer in the other two games. But, they both were able to put up big points here. Patrick Ewing with 8 and 6 boards, and as we can see in the highlights, AI with the game winner right there. On the other side of the bracket, number 2 UNC taking on number 7 Houston. And in this one, Michael Jordan, James Worthy, Vince Carter, all throwing down dunks, all scoring points. And this one was not even close. It was 22-11. Vince Carter almost with the double-double. I don't think anyone in the tournament has had a double-double yet, but he had 10 points, 9 boards, and we see Michael Jordan hitting the game winner right there. Final matchup in the Elite Eight was Kansas taking on number 22 Memphis, and Kansas was able to get the win. We see Wilt hitting a hook shot. Andrew Wiggins had 13 points. He just went off in this one, 13 points and 3 boards. He's been playing really, really well for that Kansas squad. Of course, Paul Pierce is knocking down shots when you need him to, and of course having Wilt Chamberlain under the rim goes a long way as well. So that is the Elite Eight, and we are down to the Final Four. We got UCLA, Georgetown, UNC, and Kansas left. Of course, UCLA is the 1 seed, Georgetown is the 5 seed, UNC is the 2 seed, and Kansas is the 3 seed. So no real Cinderella stories in this bracket, but hey, we got what we wanted. We have the best college basketball programs of all time going head to head in a Final Four. I can't wait to check that out. That's all going to be in episode 3. Episode 3 will be the final episode of Quarantine Madness, where we will cover Final Four and the championship game. So make sure you're subscribed so you know when that video comes out, and I will see you guys very soon.